Hello my dear students, I hope you people are fine. In this video, let us continue with the other two different types of the motherboard. In our previous video, we have completed what is motherboard, what are the characteristics of motherboard, that is the form factor, chipset and the processor socket, and we have seen the two different types of motherboard, that is XT motherboard and the AT motherboard. Now let us continue with the two more motherboards, that is the baby AT motherboard and the ATX motherboard. So coming to the baby AT motherboard, this baby AT motherboard, in this slide you can see, it's a combination of both the XT and the AT motherboards. That means it is having certain features of the advanced technology motherboard as well as the extended technology motherboard. They have the slot type processor socket and the PGA processor socket. Okay, now this is what is the slot type processor and the PGA. PGA actually stands like a pin grid array socket. Now this is the PGA. You can see this is a pin grid array socket. Whatever these holes you can see, this is, if this kind of a socket, if it is there, then I can call it as the pin grid array socket. Okay, apart from this baby AT motherboard also have the RAM slots, like it is having SD RAM slots as well as the DRR RAM slots. SD RAM slots we know that previously we have studied, that is a synchronous dynamic random access memory. So this synchronous dynamic random access memory provides you the faster data transfer rate comparatively to the DIM modules which are being used in the XT motherboard. Whereas the double data rate random access memory, they are considered to be the one of the fastest data transfer rate it is provided between the memory and the CPU. Now here I'll just show you an example. This is a non-DDR. Any RAM slots like synchronous data random access memory, usually they will transfer the data to the CPU only at the rising edge of the clock signal. Usually in the computer system we will be having a clock signal. Whenever the clock signal will rise, that means whenever your signal is high, that is 1, then the data will pass. Whenever the signal will low, the data will not be passed by the any kind of RAM slots like SDRAM, okay, DIM slots. They will pass they will transfer the data only at the rising edge of this clock signal. Whatever X marks you can see, if this X mark is there, only at that particular time of at the rising edge of your clock signal, the data will be transferred to the CPU. Okay, in such case what happens, maybe it is transferring the 32 bits rate. Okay, whereas in case of the DDR, that is a double data rate random access memory, if it is there, it is transferring the data to the CPU for the processing purpose both at the rising edge and the falling edge of your clock signal. Clock signal, once it will be rising, once it will be falling. So usually zeros and ones. So in case of double data rate random access memory, it will transfer the double the amount of the data in the each clock signal. This is the rising edge. When the signal is high, when the signal is 1, the data is transferred. Even when the signal is low, the data is transferred. High and low, you can see here. That is the reason it will have the ability to transfer the double the amount of the data transfer whenever it is the non-DDR. So here if it is the capacity, here if it is 32 bits, then the double data rate random access memory is almost having 64-bit data transfer rate. Obviously this will be the most fastest data transfer between the random access memory and the CPU for the processing purpose. Non-DDR nothing but the normal RAM slots like DIM slots or synchronous data random access memory, they come under that is a non-DDR. So just to show you, just to make you understand, I'm showing these images. Okay, so this baby ATA, we know that it is having a slot type processor, and then as well as the PGA, that is pin grid array processor, plus it is having the RAM slots like synchronous data random access memory and the double data rate random access memory. Apart from that, it do also have the PCI slots and the ISA slots. We know that PCI slots actually stands for the peripheral component interconnect, which is used to connect for the graphics card. Graphics cards are usually used in the gaming purpose, okay, sound cards and all. Whereas the ISA stands for industry standard architecture slots. They are used to connect for the modems, internal modems they are used to connect. And this baby 80 motherboard, it is having the 12 pin power connector as well as the 20 pin power connector, and other ports also it is having. Okay, the 12 pin power connector, this is like, it is having the 12 pin power connector, plus it is also having the 20, this is 12 pin power connector, and this is having the 20 pin power connectors, both it is having. And it also supports for the external ports. Okay, external ports, as I have shown, which is helping you to connect the external devices like your USB flash drives or external speakers, okay, external input devices. So for all that, this baby ATX will baby 80 motherboard will support. Example for the baby 80 motherboards are Pentium 3 and the Pentium 4 processors. Moving on to the next one, the last one, that is the ATX motherboard. This ATX motherboard actually stands for Advanced Technology Extended. So almost all the latest motherboards which we are using in our computer system, laptops or the desktop computer system, they are all the ATX motherboard, which are being designed by the ATX form factor. This ATX motherboard, it is using the MPGA processor sockets. MPGA processor sockets actually stands for Micro Pin Grid Array Socket. Previously it was just a pin grid array socket. Here you can see this is a processor socket, which is nothing but the micro pin grid array socket, where different processor like Intel processors or the AMD processor, usually they use such kinds of processor socket in their personal computers or the desktop computers, or even whenever they're designing for the servers, usually they make use of this MPGA processor socket. Plus this kind of ATX motherboard, it also includes RAM slots like a double data rate random access memory only it will have, and then it do also have the PCI slots, again peripheral component interconnect slots, okay, which is used for the, as I said, it is being used for the graphics card or the sound card or the internal modems card. For that purpose PCI slots are being used. Then one extra slot, it is using AGP slots, that is the accelerated graphics port slot, which is mainly used for the faster access to the graphics accelerator card. So it is helping for the 3D gaming purpose, any computer graphics for the 3 dimension. Usually this PCI is also supporting for the graphics purpose, but it will support for only for the 2 dimension, that is 2D games. Whereas in case of this AGP, it is extensively and exclusively used for the computer graphics itself, where it is helping for the 3D gaming purpose. Okay. Then it is also using the primary and the secondary IDE interfaces. So here IDE interfaces actually stands for Integrated Digital Electronic Port. So usually these IDE devices like CD-ROM drives or the hard disk drives are being connected to the motherboard through the IDE port. External devices, like if you want to place in a CD, if you want to play in your computer system CD-ROM device, CD-ROM or something like CD if you want to place, or any external hard disk you want to use it for with your computer system in order to copy of certain files from your computer to your external hard disk drive, then we are making use of an IDE port. So that is also there here. And then it is also helping, it is also providing one more connectors known as the SATA, that is the SATA connectors, which are actually stands for the Serial Advanced Technology Attachment. So these SATA connectors, you can look here, okay, you can see, you can look here, these are the SATA connectors here. So these are the SATA connectors, here it is written already. They are used to help you to connect the hard disk drives or the DVD drives. Okay, we are using the primary and secondary IDE interfaces to connect to the CD-ROM or the external hard disk. You can connect it by using the SATA connector, which stands for Serial Advanced Technology. We can connect the hard disk drives and the DVD drives to your computer system. So these are the SATA connectors. And as well as this ATX motherboard, it consists of both the 20 pin and 24 pin ATX power connector ports. Okay, like this. It connects both the 20 and the 24 pin ATX power connector, and it also have the all different kinds of external ports it is having. And just example I'll show you. Yes, this is how the advanced our ATX motherboard look like. This is a pro CPU socket. You can see here CPU socket. So CPU heat sinks and mounting points for the fans. This is nothing but the MPGA, that is a mini grid array processor socket it is using. And this is a power connector. It might be the 20 or the 24 pin connector it is having. And this is the accelerate AGP slot, that is the accelerated graphics port, exclusively used for the 3D gaming purpose. Nowadays all our new processors are supporting for the gaming purpose, right? So this is for that one. And then we are having the PCI slots. If at all if I want to connect for the sound card, okay, graphics, 2D graphics if I want to have, then internal modems, then I'm making use of the PCI slots I'm using. And here you can see this is the RAM slots, blue color. But here in our ATX we are using the that is the double data rate random access memory. Here it is given DRAM. Actually it's a double data rate memory slots, where the data transfer will be in both in the case of rising edge as well as the falling edge you will be having. And then hard disk drive slots, let us a primary and the secondary IDE hard disk drive. Any external hard disk if I want, I'm able to connect through the IDE ports. So this is how the advanced, this North Bridge and all, this we will discuss in our next videos. Okay, but what this is the main features whatever we are providing in the ATX motherboard. And the examples for the ATX mother, and these are all the external ports. It also support for external ports for the NIC card. It is helping you to connect the mouse, okay, mouse, external keyboard. Usually we will be having for the desktop computers, okay. And then USB, that is your pen drive, you can click, or you can connect for the PowerPoint, you can connect for the PowerPoint presentation. For all those things, these external ports have been provided. The example for the ATX motherboards are like dual core, quad core, or Intel i5 or Intel i7 processor, okay, Intel i3. These are the different types of example for the ATX motherboard. So there are usually 4 types of motherboard that we have discussed. That is the XT motherboard, Baby 80 motherboard. For XT motherboard we have example Pentium 1. For 80 motherboard, Pentium 2. For Baby 80 motherboard, we have Pentium 3 and Pentium 4 as example. For ATX motherboard, so Intel Pentium i3 or i5 or i7. These are the examples. So this is very important question from the examination point of view. What is motherboard, what are the characteristics of motherboard, and the different types of motherboard. Very important question. So you have to write all these points whatever we have discussed. Moving on to the next one, that is the components of motherboard. So what are the different components that are being placed or mounted on the motherboards? Okay, we will see it. So you can see here clearly these are the external ports. These are the memory slots. This is the power connector, 20 or 24 pins. These are the SATA ports. You can see motherboard model number, it has been placed. This is a CPU processor. Okay, these are the PCI sockets. These are the external ports. I hope you will be able to understand. So moving on to the next topic, that's the components of mother. What are the different components? The processor is being placed on a motherboard. BIOS, basic input output, then CMOS, battery, slots, different types of slots, PCIe, AGP, those slots, disk controller, input output ports and interfaces, bus. So these are the different components of the motherboards which are being mounted on our motherboard. Moving on to the first one, okay, that is the processor. Processor is the first one which we have to discuss here. Now the processor of the CPU is the main component of our motherboard, and usually we call the CPU as the brain of the computer. Why it is called as brain of the computer? Because it is the only unit that can able to read and interpret the instruction, and it is the only unit who can process your data into the information. Hence we call this one processor as the brain of the computer. And what all this is the CPU. Okay, this is the CPU and this is the processor socket. So CPU is placed in the processor socket. Processor socket might be the different one. We have discussed as the third characteristics of processor socket. It might be a rectangular shape, can be placed vertically, or it can be a square shape. So different types of processor socket, and it can be a pin grid PGA processor socket or low insertion. Earlier olden motherboards had LIF, that is low insertion force socket, and our advanced ATX is having MPGA, that is mini pin grid array sockets. Okay, so these CPU is being placed in this processor socket. And what does the CPU consist of? We have already studied this in review of block diagram of computer, that it consists of the ALU, that is the arithmetic and the logic unit, control unit, and a set of registers it will consist of, isn't it? ALU will usually perform all the arithmetic and logical operations on the data. Okay, whereas the control unit, it is responsible for organizing and processing of the data and the instructions. That means whenever the input is being accepted by the input unit by the computer, the data will go for the primary memory. Primary memory will send the data for the CPU. Primary RAM, random access memory, will send the data for the CPU for the processing. Within this CPU, there is a control unit which will actually divide the entire instructions into series of instruction and then hand over that series of instructions to the ALU for the processing. Therefore, we can say the control unit controls and coordinate the entire activity of the other units of the computer. Understood? And then what was the work of those registers? CPU consists of a register which are the temporary storage. They will hold the data, they will hold the instructions. Okay, they usually we call them registers as the working memory of the CPU. So whatever the calculation, intermediate results, whatever the CPU will perform, all those data will be stored in those set of registers. Okay, now this CPU, is being fabricated as a single integrated circuit. Now this actually the CPU is being fabricated. It is being kept inside. It has been mounted with an integrated circuit known as the IC chip, and we can also refer this to be as the microprocessor. Instead of calling the CPU, I can also refer this one to as the microprocessor, where actually it is a chip. It's a small chip which has been integrated within this IC chip. Understood? Then this chip contains the entire computation engine. Whatever the processing has to be performed, whether it is arithmetic, logical, relational, okay, all the logic, different gates, every computationals will be performed by this tiny chip which is called as the microprocessor. And this microprocessor is being plugged onto your motherboard. Okay, it has been plugged onto your motherboard and it is being placed in the processor socket. And one of the leading processor nowadays in the world today is the Intel company, Intel Pentium. Usually we are able to see that certain ads of Intel i3, i5. Now the latest version is i9, is the latest version of the microprocessor we are getting. Okay, I hope you are able to understand. Then moving on to the next certain points about the processor is, usually how do we say our computer is the fastest? Okay, usually how do we say that? It's based upon the CPU performance. Okay, usually we say that our computers are more faster, or how do you say the computer has become slow? Because the processing speed will be slow in case of certain computers. Then you'll get to know if the page is loading very slow or something, you'll get to know that the computer has become slow based upon the CPU's performance. Based upon this CPU performance, you are able to judge it. The more the CPU can process the instructions per second, the more the speed of your computer system you can experience. Therefore, usually the computer operating speed is linked to the speed of the system clock. Actually, onto our motherboard, there is a system clock present. Okay, there is a system clock present in order to measure the CPU performance. Okay, the more the CPU can process your instructions per second, the faster the speed of the computer system you can have. So usually the operating speed of that computer is linked to the speed of the system clock. Therefore, the we have the definition. The clock speed of a CPU is defined as the frequency with which a processor will execute instructions or the data is processed. Our performance of this CPU is based upon the clock speed. So internally on our motherboard we have a clock speed. So based upon that clock speed, it is being defined as the frequency with which a processor executes the instructions of the data that has been processed. Usually CPU performance is measured in terms of instructions executed per second. It might be executing the instruction million instruction per second or billion instructions per second. Usually MIPS stands for million instruction per second or the billion instruction per second. And nowadays most of the PCs will come with a clock speed of more than 1 gigahertz. Okay. See, if your CPU, if it is any model, it might be i3, i5 or i7, how many number of instructions are being executing per second? Depending upon that, you can actually measure the CPU performance. Okay, so and usually CPU performance is measured in terms of that is million instruction per second or the billion instruction per second. And one more thing is the clock frequency is usually measured in terms of millions of per second, that is megahertz or the gigahertz. You can make millions of instructions are you can also say that it's a megahertz, or the billions of instructions, or also you can say as the gigahertz. I hope you are able to understand. So this was all about the processor, and a few more components of the motherboard like BIOS, CMOS and all we will discuss in our next video. Okay, take care of yourself students. Solve the assignment. Thank you.